Hey everyone, it's Tina. Welcome back to my channel where I talk about living and teaching in Vietnam. I hope that you're having an amazing day. For today's video, I'm going to answer the question that I get asked the most. Do you need to know how to speak Vietnamese to be able to teach Vietnamese students? I've been teaching in Vietnam for 4 years and I can consider myself as a good resource to answer this question. But before I do, it would really mean a lot to me if you would support the channel, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified of new uploads. Now, let's start the video. First, let me share with you some of the Vietnamese words that I know. Xin chào, which means hello. Cảm ơn, which means thank you. Xin lỗi, which means sorry. Em, which refers to a female or male that is junior or younger to you. Em ơi, which means my dear. I usually say em ơi if I'm calling someone at a restaurant and I'm like saying, excuse me, waiter. Em ơi. Chị ơi, which is female. Tin tin, which means bill. So if you're at the restaurant, you go tin tin, and then they're gonna give you the bill. Cha da, which is iced tea. Cơm thấm, which is broken rice, and it's usually with some pork chops. Gà, which means chicken. Cơm, of course, is rice. Mi sao ba, which is my favorite. It is beef fried noodles. Banh mi, which is bread. Bún bò Huế, which is so much better than pho. It is noodles that originates from Huế. So good. Café soda, which is iced coffee with milk. Một hai ba. It literally translates to 1, 2, 3. But you will typically hear this when people are out drinking and they're giving a toast and it's like cheers. Bia, which is beer. Xe ôm, which means motorbike. If you need a ride, you will call for a xe ôm or a motorbike driver who can bring you to your destination. Khu xe, which means parking. So if you're riding your motorbike, you gotta look out for this sign. Quan, which means district. I'd be honest with you guys. When I said earlier that I'm going to share with you some of the Vietnamese words that I know, I wasn't being 100% truthful.
Let me share with you some of the Vietnamese words that I know.
In all honesty, those are the only words that I know. I know I'm pathetic. I did go to a workshop in my first year in Vietnam to try to learn how to speak Vietnamese. I was very excited. It was held in this beautiful hotel. Anyway, an hour into it, and I got really frustrated with myself because I couldn't get the tone right and my pronunciation was really off. So I left that workshop feeling really disappointed about myself. But over time, in a span of 4 years in fact, I picked up some words that are really useful for daily interactions with the Vietnamese people. And those are the words that I shared with you earlier. So, to answer the question, do you need to speak in Vietnamese to be able to teach Vietnamese students? Drum roll, please. The answer is no. You don't need to speak Vietnamese in order to teach Vietnamese students. In fact, in your CELTA or TESOL training, you'll be taught different teaching techniques to be able to teach English in any country. And that includes relaying meaning to your students whose native language is obviously different from yours. How? First, you need to grade your language. It simply means you need to simplify your language to get your meaning across right away. Remember, it's not about you making a good impression of yourself by using big words or speaking in your normal pace, which to your students' perspective is in a fast way. No, it is about making sure that your students understand the lessons, including the way you speak, by speaking clearly, relatively slowly, and using simple sentences. A shout out to all teachers teaching young learners. I'm sure you've had moments of you taking a bit much longer than you'd expected to try to simplify something. I remember when we came across this big word, the word was chaos, in one of our storybooks, and I tried to simplify it by saying it means disorder. And then I got asked, what is disorder? And I go, it means there is no order. 2. Use lots of examples. Show them videos, pictures, or even list relevant words to ensure that there is comprehension of the word that you're teaching them. 3. Demonstrate. You are a teaching material. What? Yes. To let your students understand a concept that you're teaching them, sometimes you need to demonstrate through your actions, which means that you need to act it out. Teachers are no different from actors. This includes your facial expressions. Facial expressions are vital teaching tools. Teachers express meaning through facial expressions. Number 4, elicit. Once you've already simplified your language, used lots of examples, and demonstrated what you're trying to teach your students, by now you should already see that they understand what you're teaching them. But if you ask them and there's only a handful, then you can try another technique, which is elicit. Elicit means to draw out the answers from your students. Ask those students who already understand what the Vietnamese word is for what you're teaching the whole class. Then ask your teaching assistant to verify if the student's translation is accurate. If it is, great. Award your student for being a helpful teacher. Number 5. Speaking of TAs, yes, you're going to have a teaching assistant in Vietnam. However, it isn't really good practice to rely on your TAs to translate for you all the time in class. Teachers also avoid doing this because if you think of it this way, if you're a student and you hear your teacher speaking quite fast with words that you barely recognize and would ask another person to translate everything that he or she said in Vietnamese, how would that learning experience be like for you? Personally, I avoid using my TAs to translate for me in class because this isn't really their job, but my job to put my students at the heart of my lessons, making it student-centered in all aspects. And that includes really understanding their level of communication process. In other words, if I've used up all the strategies I've mentioned earlier and there are still confused faces before me, then sure, I'm resigned to asking help from my TAs. So that is it, you guys. That's everything that you need to know in order to teach in Vietnam, even if you don't know how to speak in Vietnamese. Of course, it's a great plus if you know how to speak the language, but as you already now know, there are many different ways that you can do to effectively reach out to your students and teach them even if you don't speak their language. I really hope that you enjoyed that video and found it a little bit helpful. Please don't forget to subscribe and tap the bell. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.